What's going on, guys? What's happening? How's everyone doing? Can you hear me all right? Is the video okay? Is the audio okay? Can you see me? Can you feel me? I don't know what song it is. I literally just typed in non-copyright music, and this is what came up. "2:30 a.m. The bro's staying up late to watch the kid." Hey. I refuse to. Yeah, it's just lo-fi, random lo-fi mix. All right. What's going on over on Twitch as well? Hold on one sec here, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I just have the cleaners over cleaning the house. Okay, so what is going on, guys? The market looks a little bit gay, right? It looks a little bit gay. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's not pretend that this looks amazing. It does look kind of shitty. So really the most important thing that we need to ask ourselves, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to be objective. We have to be objective. So you need to have the ability to separate your built-in bias based on the fact that you own crypto and you want it to go up, because we all have that, from the objective reality of what's going on in the charts. Okay? So we're going to cover the charts here objectively, and then I'm going to give you my objective opinion based on what I see in the charts right now. And then we can talk a little bit about, what I think could happen and some potential scenarios that lead us out of this. But again, we have to be objective here. The goal always, at least for me, has been to make money. I've chosen crypto as the vehicle in which I'm going to use to try and make money. And I like it because it's volatile. It's trading 24/7. There's so many opportunities, but it can be any market, right? I'm not here to be a bag holder. Do I believe in Bitcoin long term and crypto? Sure, absolutely. But I'm still here to make money. And what we cannot allow ourselves to do, and it happens all the time, it happens to me, is get blinded, right, by our inherent built-in bullishness that makes us become not objective about what's actually going on in the charts, because that's how you become a bag holder, okay? So I'm going to start off with some pretty gay bear talk because it's needed. But then I'm gonna sandwich that gay bearishness in with just a bookend of some bullish hopium. Does that sound good? Cleaners and dog walkers. Yeah, I do have cleaners and dog walkers. Why are you so angry, Rise? What's going on, bro? Your first comment was clown. Then your next comment was, I live in a dumpster. What's going on? Are you okay? Like, are you good, bro? You sound very upset. Has the market got you down? Are you poor? And that's why you're angry and you don't know what to do with yourself, so you're taking it out on me? Because I don't know, bro. You're the one here watching my stream. No one's going over to your Twitter page with fucking 20 followers and listening to what you have to say. So if you're feeling upset, it's okay, man. It's okay. You know, you can take it out. I can be that punching bag. This guy's never seen a bull run dip. Are you mad because the title of the video is clickbait? Is that what's upsetting you? This guy's never seen a bull run. Buddy, the price of Bitcoin could never go up again, and I'll still have more money than you can even dream of. Don't talk to me about no bull market dips, baby. I was here when Bitcoin was fucking $200. People get angry, man. They get angry. This is an angry little man here. This is an angry little man. Let's go on. Let's see what's going on here. What's going on here with this guy? Rise trades. Let's see. Wow. Accurate signals and templates to boost your crypto portfolio. 6 years of expertise. No hype, just results. 6 years of expertise. Joined in December of 2024, though. 135 followers. Absolutely no mutuals. Retweeting people like Crypto. Oh my God. Buddy boy. It's not looking good, pal. I'm bullish on crypto. What I'm bearish on is you. Bearish on you. You're getting absolutely clowned here in the chat, bro. I know you think it's a shout out, but everyone in here is laughing at you, not with you. They're all making fun of you, and I don't think any of them are going to follow you either. Anyways, feel free to complain and bitch and moan in the chat here, buddy. Nobody cares about what you think or have to say, and if they did, maybe you would have a few followers, and you wouldn't be in my fucking chat talking a bunch of smack. Pussy. He's trying to act tough. He's thanks for the shout out, bro. Bro, everyone here's laughing at you. We're all pointing and we're laughing at you. Like, imagine I just laugh at you, mofo clown. He keeps going, bro. I appreciate the effort, buddy. I appreciate the effort, but I've been doing this. I've been posting YouTube videos longer than you've been trading crypto. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that you best come correct in the chat box. Anyways, so let's look at the charts. Let's stop fooling around here. So what we're worried about right now, okay, on the weekly time frame is the fact that we're potentially going to have a bearish market structure break. Okay, so this is something that we need to be aware of, because if we get a bearish market structure break on the weekly, that's going to suggest that there's further downside likely to come. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fucking zero, but it confirms a high time frame trend shift. So when you have a high time frame trend shift, you got to realize, right, that this is a big ship. And it turns really slow. But once it turns, it's hard for it to change direction. If you're in some big 200-foot boat, right, it takes you a long time to turn. And then once you start that turn, you kind of got to complete it before you can turn back. Whereas if you're on a little Sea-Doo, right, you can fucking rip and turn back and forth. That's why the low time frames, you can see trend changes happen a lot more quickly. But a high time frame trend change is very significant, okay? So let's go look at the history and see what's happened in the past when we've had weekly trend changes on Bitcoin and what the results were. I've hidden his comments on the channel. He doesn't know, but he's probably been typing and messaging for the last like 5 minutes thinking anyone's going to see his comments, but no one's going to. And that is the most attention Rise Crypto will ever get in his entire career. Oh my goodness. I've already forgotten his name. I don't think it was Rise Crypto. Anyways, so when was the last 2 times that we had a weekly structure break in an uptrend on Bitcoin? Well, it's here, okay, and it's here. Those are the last 2 structure breaks on the weekly while price was going up. If you actually go back to here, right, the weekly low is way down here, technically, right? Just like the monthly low, right? I made that tweet like, hey, the monthly low is here. The last weekly swing low is like way the fuck down here. So there was no structure break here on the weekly during this entire pullback and consolidation. This would be a marked difference because we have the low that generated the high, okay, breaking. And the last time that happened was here. And this ended up being like a 50% decline. This price action looks very similar to this price action. You can't deny it. It just is what it is. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out the exact same. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a 50% decline, but a weekly break here, to me would be very similar to this. You had your bearish retest after, and then you had your sell-off. Weekly break. This didn't even really get a bearish retest, kind of a little pop, and then a sell-off. So there's a risk here that if we get this weekly break, which is only, 3 days away, we're going to get some sort of bounce, and that bounce is going to be for selling. It is what it is, right? So we have to be aware that that is a possibility here. And so that's why I've mapped out the chart like this. Because what we're looking for here is if we get a break in structure, any sort of pullback, you have to be objective. Because if we get a big green candle next week after closing this candle red, we're going to have a ton of people be like, we're back. This was a deviation. It was a fake out. And while that could be true, objectively, based on how I do TA at least, I've got to be looking to sell that pullback. You can see a microcosm of this on the 12-hour chart. Okay, so at the actual top here, we had a SFP. And I'm frustrated at myself that I did not take this short, okay? Because we then broke down on the 12-hour and made a lower low. So my system that I trade tells me that on any sort of bounce after this structure break, I need to be looking to sell into that breaker with my stop at the high. That's my system, 101. And I did not take that trade. Why? Okay, well, maybe it's a deviation. Look, we're back up at 105 now. We're only a few $1,000s off of all-time high. Maybe this was a fake out and we're going to go up. And what was the result? Price came up, it respected the breaker, and it traded significantly lower. So what I'm explaining to you here and why this is a microcosm of what I'm trying to describe is on the weekly, if we see the structure break and the bounce, how they fuck you is the bounce is just strong enough, right? It goes just high enough to convince you that maybe this is going to be different. Maybe this is going to reverse. And it could. This very well could have traded higher. However, based on my data, having used this system over years and thousands of trades, I believe that the expectation is actually continuation of the trend down. So I need to take the short. And the short's not going to be right every time, but when it is right, it pays off bigger than when it's wrong. okay? And so we have to be very careful on the weekly chart that we do not get caught up in what could potentially be a lower high, okay? Because that's what happened to me on the H12 there. And if we get some sort of big bounce here next week, there's going to be a lot of people bull posting, which could ultimately just end up being a lower high. So we've got to be aware that structurally right now, Bitcoin looks like it's going to close quite ugly. If this was a deviation, in my opinion, it should not have stayed, like it should have not traded below here, right? I mean, there's your kind of range low for very long. If it's a deviation, I want it to reclaim it fast. Notice how this reclaim here broke down 2 days later, right? We're back within. So the worry here, right? Broke down, broke the range low. Is this a deviation or is this a structure break? This to me was a deviation because we quickly, long lower wick, quickly reclaimed. Very quickly reclaimed, right? So how do you tell between a deviation or structure break? Time spent above or below the level. In distance. The likelihood of this being a deviation, the lower it trades, less and less likely. The longer it spends below here, right? If this would have went boom, boom, and then today we would have been back up, or maybe at the latest tomorrow, maybe it's a deviation. But the fact that we've now got, most likely, because this candle's going to close very soon here. I think this candle closes literally in how long? Where's the daily close here? Is the daily close at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock PST now? I forget. Yeah, the daily closes in 9 minutes, okay? So the concern here is that we're now going to have our third day closing well below the range low, okay? So that's not ideal. It's not ideal. And what we don't want to see, right, is, what we'd want to see if this was just a deviation was it not spend so much time down below this level. So we have to be objective in that if we close the weekly like this, right? If we close the weekly like this, there's a chance that this is not a deviation and that the bounce that comes after it is going to be a lower high. The other thing we need to look at here is the monthly chart. And on the monthly chart, we've lost key support here on the monthly, okay? Look what happened the last time that occurred, okay? Here's your up move for the high. That ended up being the top. So to me, if you're just looking at the monthly, like this, losing this makes me think bearish retest down to here. Bearish retest down to basically the old monthlies, right? Not quite exactly here, but pretty damn close, right? So there's a lot of worrisome aspects to price right now. The monthly closes tomorrow. What's the likelihood that this closes back above 93,500 tomorrow? Probably pretty low. Now, does that mean that the bull run is over? My title, which is a little bit clickbait, because I personally don't believe it's over quite yet, but it could be, right? And we could just be wrong and late, and that happens. But there's potential that it's not over yet. But at the end of the day, if we get a big, ugly monthly closure like we're setting up for, and we get a weekly structure break, which is what we're setting up for, it at the very least could mean we're setting up for a much longer, drawn-out, bearish trend on the high time frame. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to pull back 80%, right, and trade all the way back down to, here. Because this was a weekly trend shift, and it ended up pulling back 50%, right? But it wasn't a full-on bear market. This was the bear market, right? So the good news is, right, even if we close ugly, etc., we could end up just coming down here, reaccumulating, right, and then setting up for another leg later in the year. Very similar to how we did here. We reaccumulated and then had a second rally. Even timing-wise, it's not that far off, right, where we're in March, April, right? March is coming up here in 2 days. So there's a chance that it's not over for good, even if we get these very ugly high time frame closes. But again, we have to remain objective. I would like to think that the all-time high for Bitcoin is not in yet. Personally, I think if you can buy Bitcoin below 80 down to 70K, like down in here, I think at the very least, right? At the very least, you get a bounce. Whether or not it's to a new all-time high, I think we get a pretty significant bounce if we come down and test these levels. But we've got to be objective. If the structure is shit, we've got to trust the process. Or I do. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? But for me, I didn't take the short up here, and I regret it. The chart was telling me that it was a short. It was telling me that we're going to go down, and I didn't listen to my system, and it is what it is. So it sucks. I wish it was better news. I wish we weren't trading at fucking 84K, right? But perspective-wise, you know, I do think that there's a chance that even if we get some sort of, large pullback here, remember, a 30% pullback in a bull market happens. It's possible. That puts us at 75, 76K. Maybe that's all we're experiencing right now. This is a big bull market, and we're going to rebuild structure. Because remember, weekly structure right now, right, it's this. Here's our low, there's our high, and we're now breaking this low. So let's assume it closes gay. We come back up, we retest, we make a lower low. Okay? And then, what am I doing here? We come back up, another lower low. Well, now our weekly structure level is here. So if we end up getting a bounce, now the weekly is shifted back to bullish. So it's not like this has to go into a bear market forever. But we could quite literally see something where we trade, bang, lower high, right? Another lower low. We retest this, okay? And then if we get above here, now weekly structure is flipped bullish again. So it's not like it's forever fucked and we're going down 80%. It could be, but we could just be having a multi-week downtrend. That could be what we're experiencing here and what we're setting up for, and we've got to be objective about it. Okay? So the bullish hopium that I want to... So my game plan right now for Bitcoin, very simply, is, okay, we've come down. We're testing this kind of H12 gap here, and we're finding some support. I think if we get any sort of bounce early on next week, right, some sort of low forms here, I'm looking to short a pullback. 90 to 93, 94K. I'm looking for this to be a bearish range and to short a lower high down into here. That is my game plan. Okay? And I know it sucks, but the reason I missed this short is because I got sucked into thinking that this was not a lower high when it was. And so I'm not going to make that mistake again. I would rather short it and be wrong than not short it and end up missing another leg down, because that's what the trend is telling me is coming. So what bullishness do I want to bookend this all with? I still believe that even though this looks horrible right now, any sort of correction into these old highs, any sort of correction, right, into this, any sort of pullback that is still within the bounds of this structure, I still think can lead to another leg higher. So I still think that there is a chance for higher prices, even though the structure might be shitty and we might go down further. We might trade another 10, 15% lower. I still do think that there's a chance that this year we see higher prices, or near the end of this year, we see higher prices on Bitcoin. I do. What is some of the, kind of shitty stuff on the macro side outside of the obvious? Like, this is not good, okay? I posted this a while ago. I said, look, this is not good, right? We failed above that high. We've now taken out a low. We do not often lose weekly lows on the S&P 500. So if you just look like this, if you just do this, okay? When was the last time we lost weekly structure and didn't get a big puke? You got to go way the fuck back here, right? There's your weekly low. There's your weekly low. There's your weekly low. There's your weekly low. Weekly low. Weekly low. Weekly low. Look at this. Weekly low broke. Look at the result. Okay? Same thing here. Weekly low. 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 None of these lows got broken. None of them got broken. And then this is a break. Potentially. And looking very likely. So if this breaks, okay, good chance that this could be setting up for an even larger correction. So there's an argument to be made that if the traditional markets are de-risking, right, maybe crypto is de-risking first. Because if we are entering a period of time of risk off, right? Think of so you have risk on, and then you have risk off. Okay? So in your risk on basket, you have crypto. You've got equities, right? Like the stock market. Okay? You've got risky assets. In risk off, you have, bonds. Okay? You've got cash. Okay? Treasury bills, whatever, right? You've got your risk on assets, which mean when we're in a fiscally risk-on environment, people are willing to be more risky with their assets. The economy is doing well. We're not necessarily experiencing quantitative tightening. It's more like quantitative easing. There's money being injected into the system, okay? Whereas risk-off, we're potentially entering or we're in a recession. People want to hold on to cash. So when people have their dollars, right, if they believe we're in a risk-on environment, stocks going up, people think that they can get a great return in the market by taking some risk, right? Their dollars are flowing into crypto, into equities, etc. If we're entering a period of risk off, right, people are going to be getting their dollars out of here, right, and putting them into cash, into more risk off stuff. So what you have to be concerned about is potentially people are looking at the tariffs that Trump's implementing, the reduced government spending. And I know everyone's like, well, we don't want the government spending money on dumb stuff. It's still taking money out of the system that potentially was flowing through the system. Okay? Tariffs probably going to have at least a short-term negative effect on the economy. And maybe people are looking at this and saying, okay, I think we might be entering a period of risk off. Let me get out of risky assets. Let me get out of things like crypto and equities, etc. So that's something we've got to consider. We haven't really seen Bitcoin operate in a truly risk-off environment for any significant period of time. And Bitcoin seems to do the best when there's money flowing into the system. There's money in there greasing the wheels. So I know it's shitty. I know it's gay. And if this was the top and we're about to have an 80% decline, I mean, fucking A. But I'm going to be looking for a bounce, and then I'm going to be looking for a lower high. And in that lower high, I might de-risk, right? Some alts are holding up surprisingly well relative to how far Bitcoin has sold off. So if you're holding some altcoins that you wish you sold up here, and we get some sort of bounce, and some of these alts go up 20, 30, 40% on that bounce, that might be an opportunity for you to get out of some of those coins at less of a loss, or recapture some of that gain that you may have round tripped in P&L. right? Because like, let's look at something like Bonk. Okay. Like this doesn't look great. And maybe you're like, fuck, I wish I sold here. Fuck, I wish I sold here. But if we get a bounce across the board next week and Bonk has a ripper, okay, and it goes like this, maybe that's your chance to get out, because what if it ends up going like this? You're going to be pretty pissed you didn't sell. Now, I do believe that there is still potential, right, that we see a period of outperformance in alts. But what we need to see is Bitcoin dominance go down, and we need to see Bitcoin not fucking nuke. Because even if Bitcoin dominance is rolling over, if Bitcoin's dropping 10, 20% from here, it's not going to look great for alts unless you're just comparing alts versus BTC. But if we can get Bitcoin to go down, right, and then maybe chill out, and Bitcoin dominance to roll over, that could lead to a period of outperformance for altcoins. But I'm hoping, my best case scenario is that we do something like this. Okay. And then we get our alt season up here when Bitcoin tops out. Okay. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that, and then we get another lower high. That's not great. Okay. So I'm going to hope for the latter, but I'm going to prepare for either scenario. All right. But short term, my plan is any sort of bounce up into the 90 to 93K area. I'm expecting this to be a lower high. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Does that make sense? Everything makes sense, guys? Nick says, guy wants to be taken seriously talking about Bonk. I can't believe you keep listening to these guys. What should I talk about, bro? What do you want me to talk about? Your coins? What coins are you holding, Nick? Gosh. Like, some people are so fucking stupid, man. Why do you listen? You're here. You're in the chat, bro. There's 900 people here. You think you're going to convince them all to leave? Nobody knows who you are. What computer do I use? I have a custom-built PC with a 4090 that I had some guy build for me because I'm retarded. I built my last PC, and the fucking cable management in it was so shitty. It just looked ugly. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. And I didn't really enjoy it. I know a lot of people, they enjoy building the computer. I didn't really like it. Yeah, so let's look at Ethereum next. Then we'll look at Solana. And then I'm happy to look at any coins that you guys want me to look at. Can't believe this guy's doing a crypto stream and he's talking about Bonk. The fucking crypto stream, bro. You want me to look at fucking T-bills, you fucking doorknob? The worst part, too, is like the lower prices go, the more miserable people that are going to be online. They're just going to be so sad and miserable. Like, the lower price goes, guys, like you think people are miserable now? Bitcoin's at 80K. You weren't here when it was 15 or 3. Okay? So let's look at Bitcoin or Ethereum, excuse me. Is that okay, Nick? Nick, can we look at ETH? Is that allowed? Is ETH allowed? I need to know from Nick what I'm allowed to look at. Is this okay? Or is this going to upset you? Is this enough? Is this a serious enough asset or no? Let me know, Nick. I'm waiting with bated breath to hear the opinion of Nick. When BTC drops, it doesn't always mean the start of alt season. We also need to consider USTD. If you want an easier chart to look at, right, look at total 3 minus USDT divided by Bitcoin. When this goes up, it's alt season. Or alt outperformance at the very least. When this goes parabolic, okay, it's alt season. So if you look, this was alt season, right? Ethereum doubled here. Ethereum crushed here. Alts crushed here, right? There's periods of outperformance. If you remember November of 2024, we had a lot of alts go up, a lot. This was going up. So this is something you can look at. This is very similar to ETH BTC chart. You can look at Bitcoin dominance and USDT together. This is a really good one to look at. If you want to look at all kind of altcoins minus Tether versus Bitcoin. Yeah, LTC looks surprisingly good. Okay, so I'm going to look at Ethereum, I'll look at Solana, and then I'll take your guys' requests, okay? So let's look at ETH first. So ETH has been a perennial disappointment. It's been absolutely, unbelievably disappointing because it's not made an all-time high yet. It has lagged everything else. It's gotten mollywopped by Solana. It's been a very, very difficult cycle to be an ETH maxi. It's been so bad. We've seen some of the, I can't remember his name, but one of the larger kind of .ETH guys on Twitter actually took the .ETH out of his name. That's how bad it's been for Ethereum holders this cycle. And I do feel for them because I own some ETH. So yeah, Eric, that's who it was. You're right. Anyways, looking at ETH on the monthly, like technically we're still holding this demand here, right? Like technically we're still holding demand at this like 2200 level. And we've failed to make a lower low. And arguably, right, at least recently, for the last, I don't know, few days, ETH has been kind of holding up relative to Bitcoin instead of just its pure unadulterated underperformance. It's been kind of holding up okay. So in theory, ETH is on support here. Okay. If you look at the weekly chart, we technically never broke below, right? But we've definitely, been weaker than Bitcoin, hence why this is trading well below the range low and already has. So a really clear kind of reclaim level for ETH, right, is way back up here. We get back above there, ETH starts to look a whole lot better. But until then, it looks worrisome. If you're looking on the high time frame, I think that there's a chance, right, that ETH trades way the fuck back down into the demand here, which is sub 2K, down into the kind of like 16, 17, 1800 levels. So if we get some sort of larger correction on Bitcoin to the upside, and then a deeper correction back to the downside, we could see ETH play out very similarly in that it gets a bounce, but then it ends up rotating lower. So to me, ETH is trading sub 2K. Okay? If Bitcoin trades down into the 70s. I think that's probably a realistic zone for ETH if Bitcoin is going to correct another 10 to 15%. Is ETH also correcting sub 2000 down into this area? Where in this area does it bottom? I don't know. I like kind of the 1700-ish area, but it's not looking good for ETH as it stands right now. Can ETH still make another all-time high? Sure, but it's got a lot of work to do to make another all-time high. This thing has to go up like double what it's at currently now, more, right? 1.5 times to make an all-time high from the current price. If we get another correction, we're now talking about almost a 3x back to all-time high. So looking at Ethereum, looks meh. High time frame looks kind of crappy. And similar to Bitcoin, right? If we get some sort of bounce here, my expectation is we fade the bounce. So if Bitcoin can rally to, I don't know, 93, that's like a 10% move. ETH could very easily, I don't know why it does that. ETH very easily could rally, 15, but I don't think it's going to rally back above here. So to me, any sort of bounce, I would hope, right, similar to Bitcoin, ends up being a lower high. All right. So similar to Bitcoin, if we get some sort of bounce early in the week, we don't want to necessarily just assume that the low is in for good, because the high time frame structure is bearish. And so until that changes, once it gets confirmed, of course, until that changes, we got to assume that we're selling rips for the time being. Sucks. It is what it is. Now, what would change that? I think a monthly close back within this range, like a super high time frame close back within the range. Or, so if we get back within the range on the high time frame, that's great. Or we come and retest this high time frame demand. Those are kind of the two things to pay attention to, in my opinion. Like if you don't want to trade right now, I think what you do is you draw like a line here, and you draw a line like here, and you wait for Bitcoin to get to one of those areas. And if it gets to this one first, I think you short it. If it gets to this one first, I think you long it. If it reclaims this one, I think you long it. If it loses this one, I don't fucking know. I'm running, hiding, crying, screaming, puking, throwing up, having a temper tantrum, and I'm joining Rise Trades and Nick in their fucking cave of despair. Now, are there going to be coins that outperform? Are there going to be things that go up while everything else is going down? Are there going to be, situations that and things that could come out that could change? 100%. Okay, but structurally, we've got to trust the process here, and I'm expecting potential lower highs across the board on any sort of significant bounce, and we'll wait and see. So I know it sucks. I know it's sad. But for now, we've got to assume the way stocks look, the way crypto looks, that there's potential here for more downside. And it is what it is. I longed here. Like I longed the range lows. And I was wrong. Right? Like it is what it is. And I did the same thing here, right? Like I longed the range lows here, but I shorted near the highs every time, and then you do it once and then you're finally wrong. One thing I think that we could look at as a reason to be bullish, right, is this, okay? This move from the top to the bottom here, okay, was 30%. And we did break below the range low, right? We broke below the range low. We had a really deep wick, and then we ended up going up. Well, this down 30%, right, puts us there. So there is like a chance that we get some sort of, just like really big overreaction, and then we eventually get back in here. But at the end of the day, it's looked better than it does right now. So yeah. So we're going to have to wait and see, guys. And I'm sorry. I wish I had better news. Now, do I think that we can still make an all-time high this year? Yes. But I think that the way the charts look right now, one, it's less likely than I thought it was before. And two, it's probably going to be a much more painful and difficult ride to get in there. So we're going to have to wait and see, guys. I don't think this is the end for Bitcoin or the end for crypto by any means. Remember, on a high time frame, this is still a very bullish chart. Okay? You know it's bad when the boy's pulling out the logarithmic, right? But I still believe that this chart over time trades up and to the right. I just think the variance changes and it's less. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. I think the next little bit here is gonna be kind of shitty, kind of painful. If you cashed out, if you've got money, dry powder on the sidelines, you're in a good place, I think. And you should be stoked and you should be excited about the potential of what's gonna come, right? But if you are holding a bunch of fucking coins and you didn't sell them any higher and you're miserable about it, you have really 3 options, okay? Option number 1 is you fucking hodl and you hope that your coin eventually comes back when the market gets bullish again. Option number 2, you wait for some sort of bounce and then sell the rip. Like I talked about on Bonk before Nick got upset at me for looking at Bonk. He said you try and get out at less of a loss, or you capture some of that upside. Option number 3, right, is you just get out, rip the Band-Aid off, and then you put that capital to better use elsewhere, right? And we did this math last stream, but if you're down 80% on something, currently it can go down 80% again, right? And now you're not down. Now maybe you're down 90% overall or whatever the math would be, but you've lost that value. And maybe you had $100 and that $100 can be better put in the market elsewhere in a different way. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's up to you, but it is what it is. So I'm hoping that this is the dream scenario, right? Like to me, the dream scenario is something like this. Well, actually, the dream scenario is this, but I think a more realistic scenario is something like that. But if we come down here and we bounce and we form another lower high, then I don't know. That's not great. Is anyone else dressing up as the purple furry at Denver tomorrow? We are all meeting under the NFT tail at 1 p.m. sharp. What are you talking about? There's furries at ETH Denver? That seems bad. Seems bad, yucky, gross. I don't know. Are you joking or are you serious? Like there's people dressed up as furries? Okay, thank God. Yuck. All right, so Solana, right? We're in this big weekly demand, but it looks like dog shit right now, okay? Similar to Bitcoin, on Solana, you have a very clear monthly level here at 190, basically. That's a super critical level for Solana to reclaim. If you think Solana is going to $1,000, it's not. If you think Solana is going to $500, maybe. It's got to get above 190. So similar to Bitcoin's 93 level, like Solana's monthly level is 190. So it's looks shitty. It had its kind of level of excitement, its level of run. Remember, everyone was telling you that Solana was the new sliced bread. It's different and it's not going to suffer the same problems as ETH because it's better. And they were all telling you that it's going to $1,000 and, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, everything just sucks versus Bitcoin long term. Does it mean Solana can't make a new all-time high? Of course not. But there's a very good chance that Solana Bitcoin never makes a new all-time high, even if Solana USD makes a new all-time high. Okay? So what do I think about Solana? Well, if you watched last stream from 2 days ago, we actually mapped out a really nice short on Solana, if you remember watching. Once we got that structure break to the downside, it sold all the way off. So what was that short trigger? Remember, I said we have the H1 sweep, then we went down to the low time frame, and I said if we close below here, okay, right, which is the change in state of delivery, the market structure level, which is just below it. I said if we close below here, Solana is a short immediately at the market, okay, with a stop up there. And as you can see, once we closed below there, you would have entered the trade, and I said we look for lows, and we look for lows, and I think it went all the way down. Yeah, it filled out all the way, well into multiple R here, went all the way, took out every single low. So the reason for that short, okay, this is the basics of my entire trade system. Go watch that video, watch me mark it out live, and then watch what it's played out here, right? But you have a high time frame level that gets swept, okay? And then on the low time frame, we're looking for that change in trend where the sweep occurs. So this high is this. And then we're looking to sell a retrace with a stop above the high. And that's exactly what we saw play out on Sol. So if you're looking for how do I trade the H12, H1, the weekly H12, the H1, M5, it's all the exact same. It's just fractal. So if you go back to Bitcoin here, this is a lot of game I'm giving out right now here, okay? If you look at Bitcoin here on the weekly, okay, we have a high time frame high that gets swept. We go down to the low time frame relative to the weekly, that's the H12. We look for what? We look for the high, change in trend, sell the retrace, stop at the high. Target old lows. Okay? So I just showed you it on the H1, M5. I just showed you on the weekly H12. Well, what would this be then? If we get this, is this not a weekly swing fail? Is this not a weekly structure break? Therefore, look for the retrace and sell. So it's the same. I'd use this on all assets. I use it across all time frames. It works the exact same way. So if you like, I've showed you guys this fucking hundreds of times in these streams at this point over the years. But last week was an example, or last stream 2 days ago was a really good example of just using it on the low time frame. So Sol, I think Sol BTC potentially forever top. Sol USD has some work to do. I think if it can get above this kind of 141 level, it might get some relief. But similar to Bitcoin and ETH, any sort of pullback here up into these old lows, I'm looking for a potential lower high here. And maybe it goes down in here. Maybe it goes down in here. I don't know. But you got to be very, very careful on any sort of bounce. My biggest concern for the markets in general is if we get a bullish start of March, we're going to get a lot of people long, assuming the low is in, and that sets us up for potential lower highs, right? And then continuation of the trend downward. So I'm expecting some relief across the board, and that means that you can be looking to long and you can be bullish down here. We've had a huge sell-off without any real bounce yet. So there's reasons to look for a potential bounce, but I'm watching to see if those bounces need to get faded. I haven't looked at Twitch chat in a while here. Let me check this out. 2:35 a.m. My man is from Bulgaria. It's not 2:35 a.m. here, bro. It's 4:30 p.m. Hey, man, if I pass the 100K breakout account, do I still keep the 10K in the funded account? No, you get a fresh account. BTC top. Hopefully there's a quick alt season to get rid of alts. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. What about Popcat? I saw someone post today, and they're just like, dude, Bitcoin's getting smoked, right? They're like, look at the relative strength on Popcat. Bitcoin at 80K, and they're like, but look at Popcat, it doesn't give a fuck. And then someone screenshotted their thing and just said, zoom out, bro. I mean, listen, Popcat is fully retraced its entire bull market. So could it go up? Yeah, right? But for these alts to go up, Bitcoin needs to either stop going down and go sideways, or it needs to start rallying, but not as hard. So if you want some of these things to bounce, because they can, and some of them absolutely are showing relative strength versus Bitcoin over the last few days, maybe weeks, right? But for the most part, like Popcat, Popcat USD divided by BTC USD, right? Like it's still getting smoked by Bitcoin. Has it outperformed Bitcoin lately? Kind of, a little bit. Is outperforming, then smoked. Now it's kind of outperforming, but still bearish, right? But if you want some of these things to go up, you simply need Bitcoin to, at the very least, stop selling off. So to your point here, what will happen to alts if we rally up to 92, 93K? Well, that depends. If we rally up on Bitcoin to 93, right? So we're down and we're rally up, but Bitcoin dominance rolls over a little bit, we could see alts rally harder. But based on what we're seeing from alts right now, I mean, they should survive. If Bitcoin goes up, it should be good. If Bitcoin starts going sideways and consolidating, that could be potentially good for alts, right? But we need this thing to stop going up. And it just hasn't happened yet. Could this be it? Could it finally be ready to roll over? It hits 64.5%. I don't know yet. But like it's done this before, right? Like it's taken out a high and then ends up just grinding higher. So till this rolls over, you know, we can't get too excited yet about alts now taking over. I've seen a bunch of people talk about TIA. Oh, TIA, Chris Bernisk. TIA relative strength? It's like, shut up, bro. You bought it like 3 cents. You've sold a bunch of allocation. It's gone up. The reason people are stoked on TIA is because it's gone up for the first time in what feels like fucking forever. But a lot of these alts still have a long, long way to go before they're even remotely bullish, right? Like, it would be hilarious if TIA did this. It'd be hilarious. But if it can reclaim the old floor, then yeah, it starts to look good. The thing is, guys, is like a lot of people, the issue for you guys, for many of you, I think, is twofold. One, you're an investor in crypto. You're not a trader. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, you're buying coins because you want them to go up. You need a bull market to make money. And I'm not trying to dunk on anyone, because this was me early on, and this is a lot of people. They can only make money when everything is going up. And that's fine. It's a great environment when everything's going up, right? But they need the market to go up to make money. And so the problem is when the market's not going up, one, you don't know what to do, right? Two, you end up round tripping a bunch of your gains. You don't know to sell. You don't know that you can short. You don't know what's going on, right? So you round trip these gains. You end up losing money. You hold shit all the way down. You bag hold. And you need it to be a bull market for you to make money. When you become a trader, or if you decide to become a trader, because you can do both. You can invest in crypto long term, and you can also trade. When you're a trader, all you need is volatility. It doesn't matter if the market goes up or it goes down. As long as it's moving, you can make money. So that's why I encourage people to at least learn a little bit about trading. You don't have to become a day trader. But if you can look at the weekly and the daily time frame and say, okay, this is a bullish chart or a bearish chart, that's going to make you more money as an investor, because you're going to know when to de-risk, when to go risk on, when to buy, when to potentially sell. And it's going to give you the ability to make money when the market's not necessarily only going up, right? One sec, guys. Okay, all done? Okay. Sorry, guys. I just had to let the cleaning ladies out. You guys want to say hi to Order Block? Come here. Oh, careful. Oh, can you see him? Say hi to the people. Thank you. Ow. Don't bite my ear. Okay. I'm going to feed you. I'm almost done, and then I'll feed you dinner. I know. You're so handsome. Handsome boy. Okay. Do you know how famous you are on the internet? You have no idea. Oh, okay. Careful. All right. I don't know what the fuck I was saying, but so there. White Wolf, it's 6:30 a.m. and you stay up all night to watch the stream. That's crazy, bro. Okay, guys, so I don't really have much else to cover, like on the Bitcoin front. Think I'm pretty clear about my thought process for now. We've got some work to do. If we're bulls, there's some levels to watch to potentially short. So there. So let's do some chart requests here. I'll spend the next half an hour. I'll look over any charts that you guys want me to look at. So I saw someone on Twitch wanted me to look at Jupe. So we'll take a look at Jupiter. And then we can do some other chart requests as well. Moj, I see you about 69, SPX 69. I'll look at it. I've looked at it a bunch. I don't think much has changed on it, to be honest with you. But yeah, let's look at Jupiter. And then we'll go from there. So Jupe, I think, is suffering a little bit. There's got to be one that doesn't look so shitty here. There we go. Because if I'm not mistaken, like Pump Fund has launched its own kind of competitor for liquidity provisions, right? Am I correct? So there's the risk that, what Jupe does. So, I mean, what's interesting about Pump Fund as well is Pump Fund has lost its kind of zest. All of a sudden, the trenches aren't fucking trenching so good. What happened to all the daily runners and fucking trenching and all that shit? See you later, Trav. Everybody comes back. Stop spamming, guys. I'm going to go through. If you put it through once, I'll go through and I'll read all the comments I can. But if you spam, I'm going to ignore it because it's not fair to everyone else. So the trenches were fun and hot, right? And a bunch of people were but at the end of the day, people come back to old Trader Main. All roads lead back to old Uncle Main. Okay? That's why I used to go on Thread Guys streams and try and teach them about actual trading, because at some point or another, the trenches kind of run dry. Then what do you do? Also, if you make a bunch of money in the trenches, how do you manage that money and make sure you don't give it all back? Okay? Because if you made $1 million in the trenches, that's worth only $500K now if you never sold out of Solana. Right? So you always come back to main. So Jupe, highest time frame, right? Like the highest time frame is we're in this kind of demand level that's held up price multiple times here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th time it's come up here. So I do think that there's, a chance that we just about ran that low there. We trade deeper into this box with it hopefully out, losing it. And then maybe it starts to look interesting. Did it run that low? Not quite. But it's run out a bunch of lows. And I think if it comes back and I don't know what the fuck this is. What is all that down there? What did I draw back then? What is that? Weird. Okay, get rid of all that shit because it's pissing my OCD off. there's a chance that this thing can hold, right? It can hold this demand, but on the weekly, I'd be looking for, potentially, depending on what Bitcoin and everything else does, right? If it gets another sell-off, just deeper into this zone. But you got a pretty clear level. I don't like trend lines usually. I'm not like much of a trend line trader. But occasionally you get these trend lines, right, that line up really well with structure. And so in this case, on something like this, if we trade lower and then we kind of reclaim this trend, it lines up really well with the structure, right? And you can see we rejected there and we've got this old price floor here. So if we're able to get kind of up above, 80 cents, this thing starts to look interesting to me. But we've got a sweep here on the daily. It's rejecting a little bit. If this can hold its low, maybe it gets up there. But I have a feeling that, this low doesn't end up holding for good. Very similarly, right, we have kind of a very equal low here just below it. So I wouldn't be surprised that even if we do bounce here, it ends up taking out this kind of 60-cent level. And I assume, if Solana continues to go down, the whole Libra situation is not good with Meteora, Jupiter, all that stuff. Not really a lot of good narrative for the coin itself. Did Thread Guy offer cash to touch your neck? He touch it for free, baby. You can look, you cannot touch. Okay, I'm going to alternate between Twitch and YouTube. Okay, that was from Twitch. So let's go over to YouTube now. So we'll look at hype because everyone's hyper liquid. So here's the thing about hype, okay? To me, the majority of the hype trades already played out. This thing got airdropped to people for free, and then it went from whatever, zero basically, to $40, right? To me, that's the bulk of the trade. If you didn't get the airdrop or buy it when it was like $3 or $4 and then, ran it up a 10x in a very short period of time, that's the majority of the trade. Some of the issues that hype has, right, in my opinion, are one, the execution on the platform and the fees are not that good. The execution's kind of shitty. The fees are very high. And the liquidity is not like amazing. I know everyone's talking about it being a centralized exchange killer, but it's not yet. And also there's the funds that are being used, that were being used to trade, were the users' funds. It's almost Alameda-like. So them going and setting up a layer one so they can have, proper third-party market makers and all that stuff, I do think that's good. But as it stands right now, hype is not more liquid and better execution and lower fees than trading on a centralized exchange. Now, it has the upside that it's a DEX, so it's your money that you're custodying, but the initial hype of the hype trade, it's priced in now. Like, people know what it is. It had a crazy rip. I'm not saying it can't go up. It can't make a new all-time high. It absolutely can. But I think is Hyperliquid going to $400? I don't know. Maybe years from now. But I don't think so. So that 10x that was available kind of already happened, right? So that's something to consider. I also think a lot of people assume hype is bullish because of the people they see shilling it nonstop. The biggest shills of Hyperliquid are already extremely wealthy people and people who got rich because of the airdrop. Like, so if you look like a guy like Flood was already rich. He got even richer from Hyperliquid. So he owns a fuckload of it. So of course he's going to talk his own book and be super bullish about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone should be talking their own book, right? But it's not like this is some revolutionary thing now that he's just discovered and he's shilling. I mean, he's been shilling it. He was shilling it before the airdrop, so kudos to him. I'm not trying to shit on him in any way. I'm just more so saying, like, the people who are signing off all their tweets with Hyperliquid, it doesn't matter that price is down. 40% to them because they're up so much that they can bull post it forever. Just like Chris Bernisk with Tia. Tia goes up 10, 20%, and he's like, oh, Tia's looking good. It's like, bro, you've been shilling this thing as it went down 80%. And everyone's talking their own book, and they should. But what I'm trying to impart on you is, as the person who's receiving this information, just because someone has a following, they're rich, they appear to be very smart on the internet, it doesn't mean that they have your best interest in mind and that stuff they're shilling you is good. Assume that they're talking their own book. Assume that they're in from a much lower price than you, and you should assume that they are financially incentivized to having price go up. That's why they're shilling it to you. If I'm long a coin, I'm bull posting the fucking coin because I want to sell it higher. You know what I mean? If I'm short and I'm in cash, I want to bear post because I want to buy lower. So just assume that for everyone. So when you have the people signing all their tweets off with Hyperliquid, they've been saying that since it was $40. But they're already up multiples and multiples and multiples. So they're going to continue to say that. Okay, so now let's look at the chart itself. I think it's got a very good level here at 20. Like, I think 20 is a good level for this as potential support, right? So it's run out all the lows of the consolidation. Everything's been run on this wick now, and it's reclaiming, right? You can see that $20 level is key here. It's trying to reclaim 20. So I think if it can hold 20, right, put in a higher low, I think there's a chance that it goes up and, retest 24 to 26. And then we see, right? If this happens along with Bitcoin going up to the 90s, then this is the area where I would be cautious and looking for a potential lower high. All right? So there's Hyperliquid. What is my gym routine? Generally, right now, I've been going to the gym 3 days a week. So I go Monday, Wednesday, and I go Friday. Monday and Friday, I do upper body primarily. So I do bench press, overhead press, vertical, horizontal pull, biceps, triceps. I kind of do like a pretty hefty upper body workout. And then on Wednesday, I do lower body. So I'm doing some variation of a compound squat, whether it's squat with the bar on my back, hack squat. Sometimes I even just do leg press if I'm feeling lazy. And then I'll do something like RDLs or something like that for the hamstrings, or Nordics or some shit. Then I do quad extensions, hamstring curls. I'll usually also just do a little bit of a pull. I'll do a light overhead pull just to stretch the back out, right? When you got the weight on your back, it's nice to get stretched out from a vertical pull. And I do that on Wednesdays, and then Fridays I do the upper again. My legs are pretty big, so I don't need to, I'm not trying to get them any bigger. Like, if I work out my legs a bunch, I can't fit any in my pants. So I'm more focused on upper body lately. Maker. Okay, let's look at Maker. Damn, yeah. I mean, this is looking good. This is what my point earlier about hey, is there going to be stuff that does well? Is there going to be stuff that goes up and outperforms? Yeah. So just because the markets are going down, there's always something going up somewhere, whether it's in crypto, in another market. Maybe you just need to invert the chart so you can look at longs. Like, if you're wondering if this chart is bullish to you or not, and you're like, I can't tell if this is bullish, you can go down here, hit invert scale. Okay, is this bullish to you or bearish? Because if you're like, I only know how to long, okay, invert the chart. Would you long this? Because if you're like, yeah, dude, this is a long, obviously, we broke above the range here. I'm looking to long a retest up into here, right? Well, guess what? You're now bearish Bitcoin. anyways, let me go back to Maker here. So yeah, this is an interesting chart here, right? Like it had its big rally in 2021, lower high very much in this past bull market, but still had a very nice performance. And from what I can gather here, this thing came in and it kind of retested, this monthly level here, and then it got a really big sweep right there that sent it higher. On the monthly, weekly, there's almost nothing for me here. I mean, what I would be watching on the weekly, I guess, is this. Because if it closes above there, then in theory, you've got a weekly structure break. Like, what's the high there? 638. Yeah, so I mean, technically, this could be flipping structure on the weekly. And if that's the case and the market's going to rally, you could look to long a pullback and target here, I guess. So interesting chart for sure. Not one I had on my watch list, but it's up, 130% in the month of February, and Bitcoin is down, 20%. So what do you think the Maker Bitcoin chart looks like? Right? So what is this up for the month? 85%. So Bitcoin, so let's look here. So this is up 52%. Right? Bitcoin is down 17%. Right? So 17 plus that, the difference is effectively the Maker chart, right? Like this is the difference between these two numbers is basically represented in this. Pretty nuts. But yeah, looks interesting. Do I think that you should long it now that it's gone up a ton already? Maybe not. Like, I think this has had a huge rally, and if you didn't catch it, you now need to wait. Like, look at this thing on the 3-day or the daily. Like, there's a lot of green candles in a row here. So if this is going to continue higher, I would need it to pull back before I'm interested in longing it personally. But I have no idea what this coin does or if there's a reason it's doing this. I have no idea. We can look at LTC. It looks like a lot of people want LTC. Right? So, I mean, LTC has held up really well. And as much as LTC gets shit on, it's been around since 2013, and every time Bitcoin has a bull run, LTC has a run. Now, it barely made an all-time high last cycle. It did, but barely, okay? And this, I still think, can rip, but maybe it ends up doing this, right? And it's a lower high, but it survives. It persists. A lot of altcoins, they only get one of these, right? So a really good comparison would be like EOS. Okay. Whoa, what the fuck is this, man? This is an old chart. But I've been saying the same shit for years. This is an old ass chart because of the colors. Could be a decent long here again if EOS, but if EOS BTC is bearish, you're better off being in Bitcoin itself. That's a fact. Fact check, true. So look, a lot of coins, this had more than one rally, right? Like it had more than one. But if you just compare it to LTC, LTC had a huge one, huge one, huge one. This had a huge one, significantly smaller, and now it's just dead, right? So LTC has been one of those coins that persists, but unfortunately, more of your coins are going to look like this than they are going to look like LTC. Like, what's another really good old cycle coin? Ethereum Classic, maybe? Right? Like, this is the future for most of your coins, is they get one go and then never again. Like, that's the sad part. So, like, if you look at coin market cap, so I uploaded a video on YouTube about meme coins that no one fucking watched, but it is what it is. I did it anyways. I don't care. It's not like I need you guys to watch my fucking videos. If you go here, and you go here, and you go here, okay? Let's go look at coins from 2014, okay? That were around... This is basically the top. Okay, this was the top of the 2013-14 bull run here. Okay? Let's see if I can find the exact week it topped. I think it's January. Traded at like $1,100. That was the top. It must have topped. It topped at some point in January. Yeah, because then it starts to go down. So this is basically the week of the top. So if I go back here, let me just go like this, and we'll go BTC USD, and we'll look at Bitstamp. So if you go way the fuck back here, okay? This is November 2013. Was that the absolute high? Okay, so it was slightly off. It was November, not December. Boom. Okay, so we go to November of 2013. There you go. This is like all-time high week for Bitcoin is like right here. So it went up. This was the top right there. Okay, November 25th. This is the week of all-time high of that bull market. Look what coins are there still. XRP and Litecoin. Right? XRP and Litecoin persists. You recognize those, okay? So I'm like, okay, I know this, I know this, I know this. What the fuck are all these? Okay? All the meme coins, the great utility tokens, the stuff that people are writing massive threads on about why this is a great coin and why it's so important, all of those coins are these. Like 1 out of 1,000,000 ends up, 1 out of 100 ends up persisting. Like, I believe Sol isn't going anywhere and will remain a top coin for future cycles, and it will go up and it will rally. Just like Litecoin and XRP. Will they ever overtake Bitcoin? No. Will they probably underperform against Bitcoin over the long term? Yeah. But they're going to persist, and you'll see them remain in the mix. But so many of these other coins that people fucking jerk off over, and they circle jerk each other being like, this fucking coin's this. Meme coins are the future. They're all going to end up the way of these other coins. Utility coin is a meme. Are there coins that do stuff? Sure, like Curve and certain DeFi coins that do stuff. And that will likely give them staying power. But a lot of these utility coins are just meme coins that people have put a little bit of effort into to make you think that it's actually doing something and it's actually important. For the most part, it's not. They're going to end up just like these coins. Okay? And then when you go look at these coins like Peercoin, okay? Peercoin was the 4th most popular coin. This cannot be accurate. The problem is there's not enough history. Like, you can't even look at these coins. Here we go. You can look at it right on here. Okay, so the thing is after their initial rip, like this won't even let me go back, right? Like they just fade to irrelevance, dude, like to zero. It goes to zero. At one point, this coin was trading at $7. Okay, same with like these coins, right? Like they eventually just kind of fade out. It's that bouncy ball meme, right? That the loop-de-loop one where the loops just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's the same thing, dude, with so many of these coins. And you think that it's this revolutionary thing, and in reality, it's like, dude, this coin was $1. Now it's 0.0033, and like it's never coming back. Does it mean it can't go up a little bit? Sure. But like this thing's toast. This was one of the top coins in 2014, and it's now $1 million market cap. There's $1 of volume. Like it's just, it's dead. Okay. And you can go look at last cycle, 2 cycles ago. You can go look at 2017 and say, okay, well, Bitcoin, 2017, 18 here. Okay. So this is the top of the 2017 bull run. Bitcoin just under 20K, right? Just went to 20K. And let's look at the top coins here. Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. Okay, we're seeing Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Litecoin still up there. But all those coins from 2013, 14, where are they? You got to scroll way down. Where's Namecoin? Where's Purecoin? They're not even in the fucking mix, right? They're not even in the fucking mix anymore. They're gone. And that's just one cycle. And yeah, Cardano still exists today, right? Like Cardano still exists today. But what's the likelihood that Cardano goes back to 3? I don't know. Maybe, or maybe last cycle was the peak for it. And so you can just go through this list every bull market and say, okay, well, let's look at the coins we had here. Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, NEM, Litecoin, Tron, Stellar, IOTA, Dash, EOS, Monero. Let's go to this last cycle. Okay, when was the last cycle high? Right? Look at the change here. Cardano's starting to fall. Where's all those other coins? All of a sudden, Bitcoin Cash went from being top 5 to 20. Stellar, 25. It was top 10. And they just start falling down the list, and eventually... So a lot of these coins that people are telling you to buy that are the new hot shit, right, that are changing the fucking game, they're going to be worth nothing. They're going to be worth nothing. So I encourage you to go check out that YouTube video I did on meme coins where I talk about exactly this and how your goal here should be to buy Bitcoin. Because even if Bitcoin comes down, guys, all the way back down here, some shit before going up, at the end of the day, your variance is way less than holding Fartcoin, which went up 1,000%, but then it went down 95%, right? This is and continues to be the best risk-adjusted asset for crypto. So that's what you need to buy, in my opinion. Hey, what up, Jordan? How you doing, G? Y'all should go watch Jordan's channel, man. He makes really, really fucking high-quality videos. BNB is an interesting exception, and I said some of these are exceptions to the rule, but exceptions don't make the rule, right? BNB is a bet on Binance. It's a bet on CZ. It has a use case. So yeah, BNB is one of those coins that probably continues to trade higher. And against Bitcoin, BNB looks good. Right? Like BNB has outperformed Bitcoin a lot. Right now, it's kind of meh. Okay? I'm not trying to shit on Fartcoin, bro. I love Fartcoin. I think it's hilarious. I'm just trying to be real with you, right? Like if Bitcoin goes to 70K, a bunch of your alts are vaporized. And then next cycle, a lot of those alts never come back. The mistake people make is altcoins go like this, and then they buy them here, and then the Bitcoin bull market occurs, and their alt does this. Like so many altcoins, Bitcoin went from 15K, okay? Bitcoin went from 15K to 108,000. Okay? It went from 15K to 108,000, and if you would have bought Cardano at the same time that Bitcoin bottomed, right, which is in November of 2022, like you're down 60% relative to Bitcoin. So it looked good against dollars, right? Like Cardano, everyone's like, oh shit, look, it's bottomed. It's got a nice bottoming range here. It looks good. And it went up, and there's money to be made here, but you underperformed just holding Bitcoin. Like massively. You missed the entire bull run. Now, does that mean that this can't bottom out? We can have an alt season and it can go up? Of course it can. Just saying, you have to change how you frame these coins. These are a tool to get more dollars and to get more sats. So all of this started with someone asking about Litecoin. What I like about Litecoin right now, and I drew this out in a previous stream. This is from our stream on Tuesday. We drew this out. I said, Litecoin, Bitcoin looks good here. And I drew this exact signal out for you guys on that stream. And it's now up 20% versus Bitcoin. And if you look at Litecoin, Bitcoin on the monthly chart, this looks like it can go up another 40, 50% and fill in this gap up into here. So that means that on any sort of upward movement in Bitcoin USD, Litecoin's going to outperform to the upside. So I'm bullish Litecoin, Bitcoin for the time being. And that means that if the market bounces, Litecoin bounces harder. But yeah, I drew this out. The Jordan Welsh, bro. We know each other. Is that not crazy or what? He's been helping me out with my YouTube game. So we drew this out last stream. Go watch it, right? What is this? Weekly SFP. Right? 12-hour structure shift. 12-hour fair value gap. That's the long. This guy says, if you're dumb enough to lose money, it's your fault. You should have locked in harder. I'm personally down 95%. So I'm an idiot. That's pretty fucking funny. It is called shitcoin for a reason. A fair value gap is this, okay? Here's the easiest way I can explain fair value gap. You have a candle here with a wick and a wick, okay? And then you have another candle here that's got a wick and then it's got a big old body like this, okay? And a wick. And then you've got a candle like this and this and this. The fair value gap is this empty space of this candle where there is no price. There's one directional price. Because this wick didn't go in there, this wick didn't go in there, price only went down here. So it's a fair value gap. It's also like a volume imbalance oftentimes. But there's another video on my YouTube where I cover it a little bit more in depth. Can we get a neck flex? Are you happy? I actually have to go to the gym after dinner. Are we sure we're in a BTC bear market? I'm not sure by any means. My title was clickbait. So I'm not sure we're in a BTC bear market. I'm not sure. But I do think that Bitcoin looks kind of shitty and we've got to be careful. And we've got to, again, what I said at the very start of the stream, we have to be objective right now. I don't want it to be a bear market. I don't want prices to go lower. I want things to go higher. I make more money when prices go up. Okay? But we've got to be objective. If the chart looks shitty, we've got to fucking, be prepared to short or to de-risk, right? Clickbait is illegal in Europe. I'm sure it is. Probably illegal in Canada, let's be honest. We're not far behind. Can we look at Bera? Sure. Peanut? Don't fucking talk about that coin to me, bro. Do not bring that coin up to me. Does Bera look good? You want to know what looks good, dude? Is my Kato airdrop that I full ported. Oh, no, it dumped. Okay, thank God. This thing was at like $3. I sold it $1.80 and I was miserable for a bit. This looks interesting, right? Looks interesting. Still like early days, right? But there's demand held, right? Now it's trying to form some new demand here. This to me would be the level to watch. So traded below, it's above. You want to see it hold this box, in my opinion. SFP is swing failure pattern. What am I most bearish bullish on right now? Gosh. Hope you got better. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. We went into Sonic last time just talking about how they relaunched the chart so it looks better and there's no people aren't looking at FTM anymore. What am I bullish on? I don't know, like time away from my computer, going outside. We looked at Jito already. We looked at Jupe already as well. I ain't looking at fucking Peanut. Fuck Peanut. Yeah, so DXY, I still think can sell off further. It's bouncing right now. Okay, but my expectation and my hope, right, is another rollover down towards here. But if this was the bottom, like we're just retesting this, and this makes a higher high, that's not good for crypto. So if this just ends up being like a range, like the retest of this, and this makes a higher high, not going to be a good look for crypto. Look at Fartcoin. Yeah, I mean Fartcoin is in demand. It's at its it's in demand on the monthly and the weekly. On the highest time frames, it's in demand. And it remains one of the more volatile charts in crypto, right? So I told you guys, like, breakout traders love trading Fartcoin. It's up 55%. It's down 35%. It's up 40%. You know, it's down 15%. It's one of the most volatile charts. So what does that mean? It means it can be fun to trade. There's money to be made if you know what you're doing and you can handle these swings, but you should also be very careful with your sizing. Because if you have a coin that can go up, you know, in a few hours, 25%, if you oversize and you're on the wrong side of that, you can get fucking fisted pretty hard, pretty quickly. Look up USDT. USDT.D. Yeah, I mean, look, this is kind of like the, you know, this is going to continue to go higher as more stable coins are printed, is my understanding. Right? That's why I looking at altcoins without this. But in theory, right, if this is going up a lot, you could make an argument that this is not good for crypto. But like Bitcoin has gone up fucking, what, 50x while this chart is traded higher. So like to me, this isn't enough of a barometer. Like what information do you gain from this? Like, yeah, Bitcoin was more bullish here and it's bearish now. For sure. But Bitcoin has gone up a shitload while this chart has gone higher. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you, bro. What up, some fatty tuna? How you doing, G? Crime season has just begun. Bro, crime season's been happening. The victim has been my fucking coins. Sui. Oh, that's Siri. Fuck off, bitch. I mean, yeah, I pretty much called the fucking top on this. I just remember telling you guys, I'm like, this is how a coin tops, right? Multiple drives to the upside, failure above an old high. This is like 101 on PA here. Failed to make a higher high, got back below the level, sold off. Like, this is one of my favorite long setups in reverse. But looking at this coin, gun to my head, I think it's like one of these things. And then I think these, I do not think those lows are safe. Like this looks like a massive market maker sell model. And it could go all the way back. Like, you remember that thing with the boxes that I always post? Box, 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 box. So that would be pretty ugly, but it's possible. I did short Sui, but I'm not holding it now. But I don't own any. So in theory, I am short. So fuck you. Whiff. So Whiff actually looks kind of interesting here. The inverse of the Sui chart. So you know how I just showed you Sui? Right? Back below. This is the inverse right here. So you have a very clear low that we're reclaiming here. So this could be a deviation, and this could trade back up to here. So this looks interesting. Right? Like, so if I invert it, does this not look like that Sui chart that I just showed you? Push, 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 failure to maintain above a high. This could trade back the other way now. Floki. Sure, dog boy. I'm not short in Litecoin personally. Oh, this is still inverted, isn't it? So like this has just like a very clean level, right? If you go to the monthly, you bang that level on it right there. Like that's the level it's got to get back above. Now, I know that that is a very far away from price still. So you could argue, okay, let's use the weekly levels instead. Still, right? Like it's got to reclaim old lows for me to get interested. Now, on the low time frame, is there a trade here? Potentially. Like potentially reclaiming this. So if it reclaims this, you know, maybe it trades up to here. But high time frame, it's still got a lot of work to do. I remember Landa del Taco, unfortunately. That was a very stressful week of my life. If we bounce to 90 to 93, which alts would I short? I would look for alts that look the weakest versus Bitcoin. Right? So whatever altcoins I think look the weakest versus Bitcoin are the ones I would short. Shorts are trapped on the AVAX chart. Where are they trapped? Looks like shorts have been crushing AVAX for a long time. You know, is there demand here? Sure. Sure, there's demand here. Used to feel like the bulls fought back. Now we're getting no reaction. I think that's just kind of completely anecdotal. Like what you got to be asking yourself is who's the buyer right now? Who's buying Bitcoin? Right? Money's flowing out of ETFs. People are selling their Bitcoin ETFs. Stocks look shitty. Michael Saylor, his last several buys are now significantly underwater. So like who's the buyer? What's the narrative? Right? We've got tons of good news. So Ansem made a post today that I think is really smart. It's a post I've made in the past. When price is going when price is going up and we have bad news and price continues to go up and it doesn't sell off, that's really bullish. If price is going down and we get bad news and it goes down even more, we're bearish. Inversely, if price is going up and we get good news and it makes it go up even more, we're bullish. But if price is going down and we get good news, SEC dropped cases against Uniswap, Coinbase, Consensus, like there's a lot of good news that's been coming. Meme coins aren't securities. These are all things that if the market was bullish, you would think that price would react bullishly to, and it's not. So that just reaffirms that we're bearish right now. Look at Frog, bro. Frog looks like shit, like every other coin. I own a bunch of Frog. I bought it 250 mil. So yeah, it's going up. It's like fantastic, right? But it needs to go up a lot more for me to even get back to break even. So for me to get to break even on this coin, it needs to do a fucking 2.5x or 3.5x. It's not looking good for me, bruv. 3.5x for me to get to break even. Does it look okay? Low time. This is like the Popcat guy who's like, dude, look, Bitcoin looks like shit and look at Popcat. It's like, but zoom out, right? Since November, Frog is down 90%. Since November, right, Bitcoin is still up 20%, even now. All right. I'll take one more request before I go because I need to eat some food and I need to get some dinner. This thing's all oily. Oh my God, am I not going to be able? There we go. That would be so embarrassing if I couldn't open that for you on stream. Bro, SPX 6900, like nothing has changed. Oh no, AZTV said we're going to 77K for show. And last time he made a prediction, it was accurate. Yeah, like nothing's really changed on this coin. It's just like, it looks worse than when I looked at it on Tuesday. It looks worse now. So there's that. If it loses this price floor, it can fall quite a ways. I'm trying to find the one that has more price history. Yeah. So this is what I posted last week or on Tuesday when I streamed. I was like, this is the level. It's now breaking below that level. So you've got to look at this objectively. Like if this goes down more, Murad's going to have to just tweet out more bullshit. Because yeah, a lot of his coins look like dog shit. So big monthly level at 71 cents. It's got to get back above. If this thing breaks below these lows, it's got a long way it can fall. It could come all the way down to here before bouncing again. So that's probably not what you wanted to hear, but there. Yeah, coins are just kind of meh right now. Like the fact that this is struggling at the first level of resistance is like kind of gay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, lads. Anyways, all right, guys. I've got to go eat some dinner, and then I got to go to the gym because this neck doesn't build itself. Hope you guys are liking the more active streams, doing them more often, as well as uploading videos. I'm still working on some new YouTube videos, so I'll keep those coming for you guys. But yeah, I'll probably do another stream on either tomorrow or like on the weekend, depending on what happens over the next couple of days. We have the monthly close tomorrow, and then we have the weekly close Sunday. So one of those 2 days, most likely. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the videos, let me know. Leave likes, leave comments. Make sure you're showing me the love on Twitter. Follow on Instagram. Check out Breakout, obviously, if you want to trade my prop firm. best prop firm in the game for crypto in the comments. The Haven info's there as well. Free Telegram is in there. All the good shit's in the description here. As usual, much love. Talk to y'all soon. Peace out. Be safe. Have a great weekend.